And the riot squad, they're restless. They need somewhere to go.
Just on Davy Moyes, we touched on it.
Yeah.
Look out tonight from Desolation Road.
Meantime, Arsenal. Now, Tony, how interesting has this become? How baffling has it become? Because it's not so much who's in the frame, it's now who's out of the frame.
Yeah.
Because Allegri, very much quoted in terms of succeeding Wenger, no longer in the running. He wants to stay at Juventus. Luis Enrique, too expensive. Nagelsmann at Hoffenheim, well, his director of football yesterday, Alexander Rosen, said Nagelsmann is our coach 100% next season. Even last night when I was in Sky Sports News, breaking news, Patrick Vieira in the last 24 hours approached by Arsenal about the vacant manager's job, but he feels it was a token gesture and he's said to be disappointed. And now, the name in the frame, if you like, the last man standing, correct me if I'm wrong, was the very man that you floated last September as the man to take over from Wenger, Mikel Arteta.
About December, Jim. It was about December that I spoke about Mike. It was only because of his reputation in the game. I read a lot of what Pep Guardiola spoke about Mikel Arteta and how he was so desperate to get him at Man City because he thought he would be a vital part of their team and thought of him that highly. He even mentioned him and said when he first got the job in football, he thought of Mikel Arteta further down the line, and they've come together. He has a huge reputation. He's played a big part. Okay, Pep takes all the the accolades, and rightly so, but his team, and Mikel Arteta was one of them, was with huge respect, Jim. And I didn't see it as that mad. I think Arsenal in that period where they might have to evolve in a different way, where they might have to take sort of a left field appointment. And yes, he's inexperienced. And people have talked about, but you talked about Nagelsmann. Nagelsmann's 30 years old.
Yeah.
So he has been involved, Mikel Arteta, at a football club. And yes, he does lack experience. But then just look at your own appointment of Arsene Wenger. Yeah, he was an experienced manager. He was managing Japan when you took him.
Yeah.
So people could make the accusation and say, oh, he's managed in Japan. What's that? He doesn't know anything about Premier League football.
Yeah, but what are the chances of getting two of them on the spin?
Well, you don't, Jim. Oh, so Jim, Bob, you just don't know. Now, what I would say, it would weaken City a little bit because I think that would be a loss to City. Yes, they would replace him, but if you know that someone's going to be a manager, or you really feel one day is going to be a top manager, and you were the first to jump in the queue, you might make a coup. It's a big ask, but it's not out of the realms of possibility.
Now, we're talking about Arsenal, but let's just turn our attention very briefly to West Ham United, because I'm hearing in the last few moments, and we'll try and get confirmation of this for you, David Moyes has left West Ham United. We're hearing that Moyes has gone from West Ham. Now, at the beginning of the week, Bob, on the show, we were talking about Moyes, and Moyes actually joined us. The very same David Moyes joined us, and was talking about how pleased he was that the players had delivered, ironically, against Everton on Sunday in the final game of the season, Sam's final game in charge of Everton. And now it seems the two managers who led their teams out, who were with their teams on that day at the London Stadium, have now gone, because just before we came on air this morning, Sam Allardyce was sacked as manager of Everton, and now I'm hearing in the last few moments that David Moyes has left West Ham United. And only earlier in the week, as I said, Moyes spoke to us on this very show.
Really enjoyed West Ham, I've got to say. Ever since I came, everybody's made us really welcome, and we've sort of got on with the job. And we've tried to be upfront and honest with everything which we've seen and what we think needs done. And look, we'll do the same in the future, and we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. Well, now it has happened, and David Moyes has gone from West Ham. He is out of there, and that is after Moyes spoke to us, as I said, Tony, and then after that, very much the cat was thrown amongst the pigeons in that we got a statement from the owners who were saying it was, quote, unlikely that Moyes would be in charge next season. Now we know he won't be. No. He's gone.
And in some ways, Jim, is this more of a harsher one than Sam Allardyce? If you think that David Moyes turned up at West Ham United in November, okay, they were 18th, and he's kept them up comfortably. Is that even harsher than Sam Allardyce? Would you go along with that, Bob? That's a tough one, isn't it?
Well,
Tony, I tell you what, I'm seeing a couple of people on Twitter, and talkSPORT Twitter, are saying Moyes for Everton. I mean, surely not.
No,
surely,
I don't think
surely
that.
not.
I'm asking you that question, Jim, because we spent the first hour talking about Sam Allardyce.
Yeah.
Okay, now, and from the outside world, a lot of Evertonians felt that it was the right decision. Okay?
Right, now your point on the Moyes thing now.
The Moyes is that he took them over when they were 18th in November.
Yeah.
And their change has been that they've managed to get safe and quite comfortably safe by the end, yeah?
Yeah.
Now, is there some ways? I mean, look, I know a lot of West Ham fans, and it's very similar, Jim, circumstances.
Very similar.
A lot of them,
power.
they really didn't want David Moyes. A number of them, I won't say all of them, I think a lot of them have respected, a bit like Sam, that he kept them up.
Yeah.
But they felt they wanted a new manager.
The point
going
that
into
I
the
made
season.
yesterday, in actual fact, I did make a point yesterday, which was, this looks to me, I said, if Moyes does go, because I don't think he was as unpopular with the fans as Allardyce was at Everton, but I think the board at Everton, West Ham, has got a tremendous amount of stick because of things that are wrong with the stadium.
Yeah.
They're under terrible pressure, and I think, well, it's a terrible thing to say, but I think David Moyes has been thrown to the wolves slightly in the hope that that'll take the focus off them.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you, Bob, actually. I 100% agree with you on that. I feel this is really harsh on Moyes. Look at where they finished. I mean, we're talking about Everton in 8th. West Ham United finished 13th, and Moyes had delivered, in my view. I think this is a really, really tough one for David Moyes to take, because he went in there, he stabilised the ship, he got them back on track. And I know certain West Ham fans still not happy about the London Stadium, not happy about this, that and the next. But now, will they be happy that Moyes has gone? I'm going to take a quick call because he's through to us. He wants to talk about this. A Manchester City fan, in fact. Brian, what do you want to say on Moyes going?
Well, yeah, and Big Sam going, it's the same thing. And the fan power that you were talking about earlier in the show. It's absolutely ridiculous. I tell you what, them fans, you take over, you be in charge of who to appoint as manager, you be in charge of who to sack. Well, let's see how that goes. Good luck with that.
In some ways, Brian, this does feel to me even harsher than Sam Allardyce, because they were 18th, they've managed to survive, and yes, there's been some big defeats along the way. You know, David Moyes' team has taken a few hidings, but with that, they've had a good number of great results as well.
Yeah, but I mean, listen, as a football fan, being a football fan doesn't make you, qualified to sort of decide who the manager's going to be and who's going to get sacked. It's, I mean, there's certain things that fans should have a say in, but appointment and sacking of managers, it's ridiculous. Like I said, you ask the guy next to you in the pub who's, or fans that you're standing next to in the stadium, you think, oh, Jesus, this guy's an idiot, but, so if these are the people that are going to be deciding who's appointed and who's sacked, well, like I say, good luck with that then. Let the fans have a go then.
Nice one, Brian. I like that. So there we are. 2 Premier League managers gone in the same morning. We're going to get reaction to that. 08717 223344. Sam Allardyce sacked, and now David Moyes reportedly has left West Ham United. Quite interesting, Bob. When I look at it, a pinned tweet on the West Ham United official Twitter feed, and the pinned tweet says, perfect way to finish the season. West Ham United 3, Everton 1. Not for Moyes or Sam, it's not.
Well, Jim, I'm glad we're off at 1, because there'll be another manager gone by 1 if we're not sure.
I think you're right. It's 12:27.
And the riot squad, they're restless. They need somewhere to go.
Just on Davy Moyes, we touched on it.
Look out tonight from Desolation Road.